Hello and welcome. Say hello as you're popping on. I do not have a countdown timer running today, so we'll give everybody a couple minutes to jump on with us. I believe I just got confirmation that all the text alerts went, and it looks like we are also on all of the different places we normally stream. So you guys say hello as you're coming on. This is Amy from Seriously Sweet and Cookie Snack Attack. Hello, Miss Tiffany. How are you? Hope all is well for you. Hi, Cindy. How are you doing today? If you are, hey, Mimi, it's so early for you where you are. How are you? Hi, Becky. How are you today? It's good to see you guys. Hope everyone is having a lovely day. So today you get an extra little bonus. Not only will I show you the cookie we're going to do tonight, talk about the things you need to have for class at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. Hello, Miss Karen. How are you? We'll do that. But then I discovered this cool new product for those of you who do not want to invest in embossing machines, but you like the idea of using the punches to create wafer paper accents, because in our florals class, hi Jeannie, in our florals class this past weekend, we had some wafer paper accents and we had some embossed bits that we used, embossed wafer paper that we used to create texture background. Well, I discovered this totally cool new item. I've never seen them before. Hey, Sally, how are you? Mimi, you're up how early? At 6 a.m. Okay. All right. To get in that drop-off line. Hi, Sally. How are you? Sally, check the Unplugged retreat group for the early release and just comment and let me know if I need to hold something in there for you. Okay. Hi, Emily. How are you today? Hello there, Miss Karen. Okay, so I discovered this new item and I decided instead of doing a separate video for that item that what I would do is show it to you today. And I just warn you, it's definitely pricier than a regular craft punch, but it's a combo item. So I think for me, certain ones are worth it. And I found 3 or 4 online. So I'm excited to show you guys that. So let's jump in and talk about this cookie though, because I have to keep my video this morning to a certain amount of time so that I can do a longer one tonight. And that's just because of being able to be stationary for this long. I have to make sure I do lots of walking around and got to do some more PT and that kind of stuff today. I know, weren't they so pretty, Mimi? Everybody did such a great job in the florals class. It was a lot of fun this past weekend. Hey, Bobby. Hello, Facebook user. Is this Nadine? I can't tell if it's Nadine or not. Is it Nadine? Say hi if it is you. Say it's me. So if you are attending the Unplugged Cookie Snack Attack Retreat in May, please go to that private Facebook group. There is an early release video there for you to watch, and you'll need to message me after this live stream is over if you want to take advantage of that early release. And as soon as this live stream is over, if you took the fabulous florals class, you're going to want to pop over there and view a video that I just dropped in there for you and message me if you want to take advantage of that. We'll need to move both of those groups through this early release before it releases into the main Cookie Snack Attack group. So if you guys are watching, please pop over there, take a look at that, and then I will reply to your messages as soon as our live stream is over. Okay, as you know, right now we are in our spring series, and it was a custom set of cutters that you could purchase one of each cutter, or you could purchase the set. Hey, how are you guys doing? It's so good to see you guys. If you purchased those cutters, you could buy them individually, or you could buy the set of 6. I think this is I didn't keep my cookies in front of me, but remember last week we did fondant sculpting for the first time in the group. We did this really heavily sculpted. We did it with fondant. You could do it with modeling chocolate or fondant, but we did our mushroom, which was part of this set. And tonight we're going to do our woodland sign that's in the the little pot, and we're going to add some flowers. So I thought this was a perfect time to show you the new item that I discovered. There are no links posted yet in this feed, but I will post you a link for the 2 that I ordered. I didn't order all of the ones I found because I didn't think all of the ones that I found would work on cookies. And I'm about to show you this really cool thing. Let me move this out of the way though. But for tonight, we need some terracotta color, which we've been using. So terracotta for your flower pot. If you have any potting soil, any of the cookie potting soil that we made up that we used on the mushroom last week and on the cookie the week before that, we're going to need a little bit of that for right here. And then you need 2 shades of brown, 2 very different shades of brown. This should be in a flood consistency. And if you want to flood your pot before tonight's class so that you can do the texture technique that I'm going to do, then just flood it in 2 sections. Put a little arc to connect your areas here so that it looks rounded. Flood this, let it crust over, flood this, let it crust over, and then that's all you need to have ready for tonight. And then for the post and the sign this way, we're going to use 2 shades of brown. And then we're going to talk about some royal icing transfers that you can make to letter your sign. Okay. So that's what we're going to do tonight. So you just need 2 colors of icing or 3 colors of icing, but really just 2 gels because you need a light brown and a dark brown, which you can obtain by using the same color brown to do your colorings. And then you need the terracotta or whatever you want to use for your pot down here. Okay. And then have one of your like damaged, roughed up brushes because we're going to do a texturing technique on the pot. So see, don't ever throw these brushes out that look like they're not good for their original purpose anymore when they get frayed and stuff. Keep these because they're good for these to use for texture brushes. So we're going to do a little of that tonight, and you'll need a scribe. And that's pretty much it for tonight. If you have some white 18 to 20 second icing made up, you can we're going to make royal icing transfers tonight that you can later letter and put on your sign. But I'm not actually going to write anything on my sign. I'm going to turn my sign into a floral sign using these bits I'm about to show you. So I am not actually going to like make my sign say anything. But if you were, hi Barbie, but if you were in the Easter class, then you already have a template where you can make 3 little white placards that you can write on, and then you can add them to this sign tonight while it's wet. All right, let's slide to the side and talk about this new product. Hold on 1 second while I grab everything. And I tested it 4 different ways for you so that we can report back. But look at this awesome item. This it's DECOP is what it's labeled. But this is a craft punch that also embosses at the same time. So look, do you see all those little lines? So we're going to use wafer paper. I sanitized this and dried it. I turned it several times to make sure there was no water up in there, like stuck up in the machine. I didn't want anything to happen to it, because you can't put these in an oven like you would a cookie cutter to make sure that all the moisture's out. So I just had to keep rotating it in the sun, and it will only be used for food purposes. But it basically has an embossing plate inside along with the cutter. So if you don't want to spend money on the machines, this is a product that as they come out with more of them, you could potentially avoid that. But what's great about it is it's a 1-inch size flower, so you can emboss your flowers and you don't even need to worry about using your machines for this one. And there's also a beautiful little like 1 1/4 inch tall rose on a stem. So those are the 2 that I selected to purchase. This one came in right away, so I'm going to use it tonight on our sign. If you have any of the other punches from the florals class from this past weekend, you can use those too. And I'm punch them out. We're going to do some dry dusting tonight, and I'm going to put flowers all over my sign tonight. This one looks just like this though. So let's talk about that because people are always asking about which wafer paper specifically to use, what thickness, and do you need to treat it ahead of time or not with like paper potion or something like that. So let's talk about that. This is the thin wafer paper, okay? And those flowers look like this. So here's what I discovered with the thin wafer paper. You can see, I think on here, because this camera's really good. Hey, Nadine. Hi, Kathy. There is embossing around the petal part. You can see it, but it's faint on this thin paper. And you can't put two pieces in at the same time. It doesn't work like running the embossing plates through a machine. You can only put one layer in at a time of paper. But look at what it does. Look at the difference in the embossing that it does on the double density wafer paper. First of all, this paper is thick enough that you can't see through it, and I'm not sure if you can actually tell in this camera, but this one is much more embossed looking. Okay, let me put another one up here. Maybe you can see better on that. But the thicker one came out so much deeper grooves. So I'm really interested to see what happens when the rose punch comes in, to see if we can get enough detail with the rose punch. So this is the difference in the O grade wafer paper and the DD, the double density wafer paper, as far as whether you can see through it or not. Ooh, boy, guys. Ooh, have to move my arm real quick. Hold on just a second. Sorry. Ooh. I have to remember when I'm using that as my display hand that I can't hold it in one spot too long. Hey, Debbie. Debbie, go check out the posting in the Unplugged retreat group to see if you want to get in on that early listing. And if you were in Fabulous Florals, the post is there for you guys as well. And I'll reply to everybody after this video is over. Hi, Sharon. Okay, so this punch is a little bit more costly though than Nadine, and even in the US, something, the smaller punches are usually around $7-8, sometimes $9 if they're really intricate, or larger punches. This was $19.99, I believe. So if this saves you the cost of buying a high dollar machine to do that kind of stuff, then it might be worth it to you. Or if you have a specific project where you need to do something ahead of time, there's different reasons this would be valuable. But would I switch to this instead of the other things I have going? Not permanently. Like this, I like this flower and I like the rose that's coming. They're going to serve specific purposes for me. But would I stop using my machines? No. I just thought it would be a cool alternative for you guys that don't want to purchase the machines. All right, so there's the difference in the regular and the double densities, just so you can see that, just for how it is going to accept color alone. Now, the third and fourth way I tested this for you guys, this is untreated wafer paper, okay? So the untreated wafer paper, when I tried to use my fondant ball tool to work this on a fondant mat and just work it like this to push the center down so the petals would come up, I did crack a bunch of the petals on this thin paper. And I also tried that same thing, same technique, without treating the paper ahead of time on the double density. And that cracked even worse because that's thicker, so it's not as pliable. Then I went back with my paper potion, which I purchased from Icing Images. And I treated the thin wafer paper and I treated the thick wafer paper. Now, you can see what it does. Once these are treated, I did both sides. Once they're treated and they dried, they're very pliable. So when I started to use my fondant tool on here, then I was able to get two that curled up really nicely if I wanted to get relief in this. And the other thing I like about this is I thought I would make some royal icing transfer dots for the center with little nonpareils so that it looks like little flower polyps in the middle. And then just leave the embossed parts exposed. Okay, so it did curl up. So I'm going to be able to attach these. This one is super flexible. Like I can really bring that down to, I can make a buttercup with this. So if anybody's going to be doing buttercup flowers, this punch is the perfect size for those little buttercups in your yard. So you can drop that on a cookie, but the treated paper really gets super flexible. No, look, I can curl this, no problem at all. And it's just paper potion. They have small bottles of this, large bottles of this, but it's paper potion. It's vanilla scented. And I usually take mine outside. I hold it and spray one side lightly, turn it around, spray the other side. And then I put it on a sheet of parchment paper or no stick aluminum foil to let the paper actually just dry because I don't want to get a bunch of pits and grooves. Now, tonight, what we're going to test. So now you know about regular versus the double density, okay? The next thing we're going to try tonight, I'm going to test this on some icing sheets to see if it will emboss or rip the icing sheets. So I'll test that for you tonight. And then we're going to come back to these because I'm going to be using these on my sign cookie that I showed you guys earlier from our spring set. We're going to dry dust these tonight, do a little line art with colored markers on the emboss part. And then the other thing that I really wanted to try was to see if I could layer them up like we did in our florals class, if they would layer up well so that we could make rotated or offset petals like on a daisy. And then I was going to cut a few where I just had the petals to tuck in from the back to make a fuller, more full flower. We're going to try that. And then what was the other thing I wanted to test for you? I don't see my little note here. I had something else I wanted to do as a test tonight. The icing sheet, we're going to do dry dusting. Oh, and I was going to see if we have time before we come back on, and it depends on like how my neck is this afternoon. I was going to take the treated wafer paper sheets, these two, and hit them with a little bit of airbrush color and see what the airbrush color looks like. Because one thing I did notice, the paper potion on my thin wafer paper, it looks perfect. It didn't pit, it didn't do anything weird to it. But I did notice that I got bubbles in my double density wafer paper. It did what I wanted it to do, and I'm not worried about the little pits that I got from the spray on the double density because it's going to make it look more natural with the flowers. But I wouldn't want you to do that on this without testing it if you need this to be super smooth when you're using it, because there's so many products on the market now that you can use instead of the wafer paper if you'd prefer to use them, that it might be just a point where you need to move on to the Flex Frost sheets or the sugar sheets or things like that to get that very thin, elegant, fragile draping look that people are going for on different cookies. So this just may not be the one you want to use for that. I love this thick one though to do flowers. So we'll test that out tonight, and we're going to airbrush these. We're going to airbrush some paper before we punch to see if that affects the use of our punch at all. And then we're going to airbrush some of these finished flowers just to see what the airbrush does to them when they're punched out. Will it make it curl? Like what will happen with that? Let's see. Cynthia's asking, what is Paper Potion? Paper Potion is an edible paper conditioner. So it softens up your wafer paper. And it smells fantastic. It tastes great. It's vanilla in flavor. It smells so good. Oh, smells so good. Sometimes I spray it just because I want to smell that strong vanilla scent when I'm doing my cookies. Yeah, I really like double density wafer paper too. And there's lots of places you can grab it. So don't be worried. There's lots of places, and it serves its purpose. It's what we keep coming back to and talking about. Sometimes cookiers are taking cake products and they're trying to bring them into the cookie world in a way that helps them to improve how fast they can cookie and certain embellishments they can do. And some cake products just aren't made for cookies, right? So as these companies, though, are getting more progressive with things like sugar sheets and Flex Frost sheets, that's like eating candy. That's a whole different texture universe and a whole different flavor universe than using wafer paper, right? So wafer paper has its place, and all of these new products have their place as well. So you'll see this time in the Pirate Kit, we have some black Flex Frost sheets coming in that we're going to be making some really cool items in our intermediate advanced class. So you guys stay tuned, watch for those posts. I am going to jump off for now unless anybody has any questions. Oh, you're welcome, Cynthia. I know, me too. I have fun things that I like to do with just the double density paper. I do use a lot more of the regular wafer paper, but there are some things that I only do with the double density. No, you're not a mutant, Sally. Some people just don't like certain textures, and that's totally cool. And if you make your wafer paper bit small enough, really, you can just pop them off the cookie. I don't mind wafer paper on a cookie at all when it's completely flat on the cookie, because it just kind of dissolves into the icing, really, and the texture doesn't bother me that way. But in our florals class, we made 3D flowers that are on top of the cookie. So there are times where that would be too much for me, and I would just pop those bits off. So Kathy, that's one of the things I mentioned that we're going to test tonight. We're going to see if we can use the sugar sheets, the Flex Frost sheets in this punch, or if it's going to gum up the punch. So we're going to be testing that tonight. You guys are very welcome. Don't forget, if you're in the Unplugged Retreat private group, go check that group now. I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to respond. There's an early release in there for you guys. If you took the fall florals class, please go check the most recent post. It's a video for you guys, an early release item. And then Cookie Snack Attack people, be on the lookout for something releasing into the main group this afternoon. Okay. All right. Thanks so much. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye.